So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me first do introductions. Heather is from Ohio County Schools. She's going to introduce herself very, very well, and most of you probably already know her. So what I'd like to say is that Heather and the Ohio County Schools team have been working with us. Oh my gosh, I've been at Marshall 10 years. And before that, I think I knew Jess through implementing my own program elsewhere. So long-term, very creative folks. And the one thing everybody here, I believe in this meeting, is part of West Virginia Expanded School Mental Health. So I don't need to explain that model to you. However, I do want to say that we're happy to report. I believe also all of you are also funded through the Bureau for Behavioral Health, Department of Human Services. So you know where your funding comes from and you know who sponsors this. You know who I am with Marshall. So it's good to have a small group of folks together so we can listen to what Heather has to say. After she's done presenting, we'll have open conversation, discussion. That's what this is for, is to build community. And that's it. Let me turn it over to Heather.
Okay, thanks, Tiffany.
Sorry,
quick, Heather. No, you're fine.
Garrett.
Just if you have questions and for some reason you can't wait till the end, you can go ahead and put them in chat, and I'll just be monitoring those, and we can pick that up whenever Heather's done speaking.
Okay.
Sorry, Heather.
No, you're perfectly fine. Okay, well, thank you for inviting me, Tiffany. Once again, I'm Heather Hines. I am the school counselor at Elm Grove Elementary. This is my 21st year, and I have been the ESMH site coordinator or manager for approximately 10 years. Elm Grove is located in Wheeling, West Virginia. We're part of the Ohio County school system. And Elm Grove serves pre-K through pre-K through 5th grade. We have approximately 305 students, and our lower socioeconomic population sits between 66 and 67%. Part of my job as a school counselor is maintaining student attendance records. And I was noticing a trend in the last few years that we had a substantial amount of students that reside in one of our community housing complexes to have chronic absenteeism. So we ran the numbers at the beginning of this school year, and sure enough, Hildar is the community housing complex that I'm referring to. We have 31 out of 305 students that reside there, but they made up 55% of our chronically absent population. So once we ran that data, we knew that this was, a targeted area that we needed to hit. I have had, and everybody else in Ohio County, we have had great collaboration with Ohio County Family Support Center and Ohio County Family Resource Network. So I spoke to my communities and schools social worker. I contacted Claudia from Ohio County Families Resource Network and said, hey, listen, I don't know in particular what I'm asking for, but when we're talking about absenteeism in an elementary school, we know that we have to involve the families, the parents, the guardians, and the community, if we're going to help resolve this chronic absentee issue. So following a few brainstorming meetings and some collaborative meetings, Ready, Set, School is the name of our program. And it was born in October of 2025. So it is very new. We decided initially to have a family event in Hildar at their community center. So we invited all 31 of our Hildar students to a family event. This was like the initial setup. We kind of introduced the program to the families. We fed them, of course. We played bingo. We had prizes. But following that family event, they had the choice whether they wanted to enroll in the program or not. So out of the 31 students, we have 20, now we're up to 22. We have 22 students participating in Ready, Set, School. So our collaborative partners, we have so many, and I think that's why we're seeing so much success so early on. So our collaborative partners with Ready, Set, School is Wheeling Housing Authority, the High County Family Resource Network, the High County Family Support Center, and then Elm Grove Elementary's ESMH program, our Communities in Schools program, and then our principal is involved in the program. So what does Ready, Set, School look like? All of our stakeholders have, key roles in the program. But this is the synopsis of what it looks like. Wheeling Housing Authority, Kate and Shelley, they work at Hildar. They graciously offered to open the doors to the community center at 7:50 Monday through Friday, where our Ready, Set, School students could join them for like a safe, positive, warm, inclusive morning, just a great way to start their day. And if a student does not show up in the morning for Ready, Set, School, then Shelly and Kate and some of the other kids involved in the program will try to reach out to the student or the parents, hey, are you running behind? Are you sick today? Are you going to make it? We hope to see you here. So just a quick, informal care call before school even begins. The kids sometimes craft in the morning. They work on homework sometimes. They cook them a breakfast, socialize with the peers and the adult mentors, and then they all walk to the bus stop at 8:20. Elm Grove Elementary's principal, communities and school social worker, and myself, we all take turns visiting Ready, Set, School in the mornings. So we are making an appearance. I would say there are at least 2 days a week that one representative from school is hanging out with the kids in the morning at the program. A High County Family Resource Network and the Family Support Center role is to assist with our family events. So every Ready, Set, School participant and all family members in their household are invited to a monthly family events that we also hold at Hildar Community Center. I think that's key because transportation is not an issue. They all just can walk down to the community center. At the monthly family events, we do have dinner. There's usually an activity, usually involving creative arts. And then that is where we announce and give out our incentive awards. So this year, when tracking data and attendance and monitoring it, the students are receiving incentive treat bags if they maintain or improve their attendance from the previous month to the current month. There's also an additional treat if a child gets perfect attendance. And then we do like a raffle door prize for both parents and students, and that's just if you attended the family event. So anybody that comes to the family event gets to put their name in for a chance for a raffle prize. A High County Family Support Center is providing really nice gift card, like Amazon, Kroger gift cards, those sorts of things for the adult gift. And then ESMH and Communities in Schools is taking care of the door prizes for the children. Here are some pictures. Sometimes they spend time outside in the mornings as well because the playground is right next to the Exley Center. So the Exley Center is the community center that is in Hildar. But here are just some pictures of some of our participants. Some of them are at our family evening events monthly, and then some of them are just in the morning waiting to board the bus. Okay, should I pause for questions now? I'm just going to go over some data after this.
That's up to you. Anybody have questions that need answered right now? Otherwise, let's see the data and then go question. I put 2 questions in chat that have already come up, but we don't need to address them because you may hit this with the data.
Okay, so again, this program, it's new, it's a baby, it's fresh, October 2025. But so far, here is our data. So we are going from family event to family event. So it's approximately a month. And if you're wondering why the dates are, not 1/1 to 1/31, we're going from one family event, collecting data, to the next family event. So we are showing an increase overall in Ready Set School attendance. As you can see, it is gone. It's gone up from October all the way up until, and it continued to rise. Our March family event is Thursday, so we just ran the data for that yesterday, but I already had my PowerPoint completed. But it again increased. So it started in October at 90.9%, and we've jumped up to 94%. That was from February to March. And now we're sitting really close to 95% from the mid-February to the mid-March. As far as comparison to school attendance rates, we're sitting at about 2 to 3% below our overall attendance rates for the entire school. So we've definitely made some improvements. We plan to continue to collect data. If all of the stakeholders are on board, we definitely want to continue the program for the 26-27 school year. And, at that point, I would like to compare the students that reside in Hildar that are not participating in Ready Set School versus the students that are participating in Ready Set School. So, that data will be coming in the future. I think, you all know, when you're developing a brand new program, you just have to be open to constantly assessing and tweaking and changing what works and what doesn't work. There are a few, we've hit a few obstacles along the way. I think something that we're going to look at for next year, rather than having a child either maintain or improve their attendance from 1 month to the next, we're going to probably have them try to hit a target, right? So if you have 2 or few absences for the month, then you're going to be eligible for an incentive. Because if you think about it, if a child missed 4 days the month of September, and then they miss an additional 4 days the month of October, they're already, at 8 absences in just a 2-month period. So should they be receiving an incentive at that point? Probably not, right? So I think we're probably going to be tweaking that a little bit. I feel like the only other issue that arose was we had, for lack of a better term, we had a helicopter parent that was one of, she was the parent of one of our Ready Set School participants, and she was attending Ready Set School with her child in the morning, rather than just, giving him over to Shelly and Kate from Wheeling Housing. And she was kind of overstepping her role, and just more or less just making it a really negative atmosphere for the other children that were at the program. So we just kindly, told her that this was a program designed just for the children, and for the community agencies that are involved. And she now just drops him off. But that was something that we just weren't expecting. And I feel like the team navigated it pretty well. And just to end, before I take questions, Just some takeaways maybe when developing programs or, looking into new programs for your schools and your ESMH programs. Use data. It's there, it's available, it's readily available on WVES. And it's very, very useful in trying to navigate, right? Like what population do you want to target for a tier 2? Think beyond the walls of the school. Our communities and schools principal and myself, we cannot do this program alone. So think beyond the walls of the school, involve and collaborate with community agencies. And then just think village, make sure that you're involving community and you're involving family members, because it makes a difference. Something else I also wanted to add that I am not involved with, but this did arise after our Ready Set School program came to fruition. A Hyde County Family Support Center is now providing a monthly circle of parents group at Hildar Exley Center as well. So there's some parent training happening at Hildar as of recently too. Okay, that is all I have. So I'll just go ahead and open it up for questions.
Hey, Heather, it's Connie Bryant. I haven't seen you in a very long time.
It's been a while,
If
Tony.
you remember when I came up and visited with you all many years ago.
Yes, I remember.
This is just so amazing. So amazing.
Thank
I
you.
love that you use data. We've been having some side chats on the side at BBH, and this is really what it's all about, is looking at the data. And
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time to be the first participant in Creativity Corner and showing how, with expanded school mental health, that you can take that data, identify areas that are barriers for student success, and then what you can do to meet those needs. My question, and I didn't hear it, but you may, I'm hoping that you'll tell me, oh yeah, that you worked with Youth Services Center that does prevention, and they have some of our other programs like regional youth service centers and mobile crisis wraparound. And if not, we certainly want to work with you to make sure that you have that connection to work with them as well, so that the families and the children have all the options and programs available to them. You guys are just, you're doing a wonderful job. So
Thank you.
were you working with YSSME or?
They're not involved per se with the Ready Set School program, but yes, we do. We're aware of YSS's programs in the area. And we do provide all of our families with those types of resources.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Thanks, Tawny.
I think the other questions we had, you answered part of them.
Okay.
How are the treat bags funded? And what time of day does the monthly event happen? Is that a day, evening? How does that happen?
Yeah, sure. So the monthly event is in the evening. It begins at 5:30. And it runs until about 7. The Hyde County Family Resource Network and Family Support Center are funding the gift cards for the parents, and they're funding the food.
That's fantastic.
Yes. So ESMH has funded the student door prizes this year. And honestly, the incentive bags, again, because this was a program that was not planned the previous year, and it sprung on us really quickly. So we're using whatever resource we have available. Our PTO has purchased some things for us to put in the incentive bags. Our principal has given us Jeans Day money to make purchases for the incentives. We'll have a more concrete plan moving into next year. But yeah, again, it was fly by the seat of your pants, and we're just doing what we can to make it work this year.
I love it. And this is exactly what it's about. Just start small, start now, and then it blows up into something that works. This data, you have my little data nerd heart. So thank you for that. All right, you guys can unmute. This is the part where everybody gets to unmute, ask your questions, say what you want to say. This is the community part. We want you all to get to know each other. and to feel
I'd
comfortable asking
love to see
questions.
this continue to grow and replicate because we know that truancy and attendance is a huge issue, not just in Ohio County, it's across the state. So yes,
Sure.
y'all feel free to comment or ask questions. I'm gonna hush.
Mhm.
Peggy's-
Tiffany, this is Peggy, and this question's more for other grantees, I guess. But how do we that are not part of the school system and do not have access to WVES, what has been some tried and true tricks that allow you all to have access to that data?
So that, yeah, I mean, that's definitely not a question for me, Paula, because Ohio County's ESMH program is unique in the fact that there are 4 school counselors that are county employees that are running the ESMH program.
Right.
So we do all have access to WVES data. So maybe
What
somebody
site?
else maybe somebody else from an agency could answer that
The
question for
school
Paula.
themselves. The school themselves. That's why, Peggy, it goes back to having that good collaboration and partnership with the school that you're working with that is an ESMH school site. Possibly taking this, showing it to them and saying,
Yeah.
you know, this is still in its infancy, but look at the data that Ohio County, your peer, they're a school system, they're a school that they've seen by doing this program. What are your thoughts about us trying to do that? Would you be willing to do that? Well, here's what we need from you. First of all, get us the WVES data. Can you share that? And you don't have to share identifying information on a
Right.
student, just
Right.
those numbers.
Numbers.
I would also
Potentially,
say if you have CIS. Garrett, we're on the
yeah,
same page.
I was gonna say, potentially utilizing West Virginia Zoom. I know that sometimes it won't give you as in-depth as you need, but it would be a good baseline of somewhere to start. It's
Okay.
publicly available, so you should be able
Okay,
to see
that's a
that.
good idea.
I
Yeah,
can give you
because
an
the
example of Cabell
problem
County, Peggy.
that we run into is not having a good relationship with the schools. We have a good relationship with all 11 of our sites, but it's and the other multitude of sites that we work with, but
Yeah.
it's just finding someone that has the time to sit down and pull the data and be able to analyze that and
Mhm.
de-identify it and all that. So if there was somebody that had a trick up their sleeve that made that easier, I'd be interested in hearing it.
Well, Peggy, hey, this is Allie Kangasser. I work in Ohio County Schools with Heather also. And like when you're saying like trying to dig into the data, like even though Heather and I are in the same county, our situations are very different in that she
Mhm.
has a HUD housing community that has that community center.
Yeah.
And I also have a HUD housing community that does not have a community center. So if I were you, I would look at I would look at it backwards. Like, who are the kids we're targeting? Where do they live? Do they have access to a building like that or that type of program? And then say to the school, hey, we've identified your school with these kids that
Yeah.
are, that we know are a problem. Can you pull their data? That way you're
Mhm.
getting a targeted audience as opposed to pulling out, I don't know how many, you said 11 schools.
Right.
That's
Right.
like infinite data. I would look at it from the opposite direction.
Okay.
And,
Mhm.
who are you target? Like, where could you create a program like that, then pull the data to see if it's worth doing?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good idea, Allie.
Another county we had to CIS. If you have a CIS person, communities and schools on board, and they're already working to reduce attendance, Garrett and I had this come up today. Those truancy rates. The important piece is to do 2 things. One, determine exactly what Heather did. Is this a small group of students
Mhm.
that's affecting the data disproportionately? Or is it an overall school challenge? Because it's 2 different interventions that you're
Right.
looking at there, right?
Mhm.
If it's what Heather found, then we've seen communities and schools be able to get that data pretty quickly because that's in their grant from the state and they are technically with the Department of Education. Just saying it might be an option in your area if you have one of those folks who are on board.
Okay.
In another county, we had the Board of Education tell schools or pull at 4 schools and say, hey, our truancy rates are this high. here are the 15 students we have that are missing more than 10 to 15 days per whatever time frame they set. And they sent that data to you, basically to the provider, saying we need help with this. And so it's exactly what you all said. If you identify, if they, there is not a school that doesn't want to improve their attendance and it's at 100%. That's where I'm going to say. So,
and communities and schools is, I mean, that would be a great resource for outside agencies to communicate with, because majority of communities and schools, their goal is to improve attendance. So they already have caseloads with the school's chronic absenteeism on their caseload. I mean, so even looking at a community and schools caseload, you know, for at-risk attendance, and then pulling from there.
mm-hmm. Yep, because they get the data.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions, comments? I'm going to go down the list and ask folks how you're doing, and if you have questions or comments, or just speak right up.
Hey, I got a quick question, Heather. So obviously everyone's communities are different. So what would you recommend as a good starting point once you, and this is after you've looked at the data and established like where your truancy issues are at, what do you think would be a good first step whenever it comes to family engagement? Because we have to work with our families for this.
And you know what? I kind of didn't talk a lot about the family involvement component, but like forming connections with these children's family members is probably one of the most vital components of the program, because they don't look at us with like fear, right? Or that, you know, we're a pay grade above them. We're coming into their communities, we're coming into their homes, you know, and engaging and having a good time with them. So I feel like breaking that barrier, and like forming stronger connections with the families of the students, I feel like that's huge. Where do you start with that? I mean, again, I'm year 21, so I'm working on like my third generation of Hildar students at this point. So I feel like I've already have connections with them over the years. There's a level of trust, you know, because they've known me for so long. But going into their neighborhood is, I just think it's huge. I just think it breaks down so many barriers.
Absolutely. I agree.
Hey guys, I just want to say congratulations, man. This sounds like such an amazing program. Is there any, and I know that this is a loaded question because it's still so new, but is there any plan or any thoughts around expanding it?
Yeah, so our communities and schools social worker briefly spoke about the program at a county level communities and schools meeting, and some of the middle school, you know, like staff were like, hey, can we do this? Can we get in on this? So I mean, expansion would be great, but they would have to find their own, peeps, right? Like to run it and to manage the day-to-day operations, because Shelly and Kate, they've already said that they can manage, you know, up to a certain number, and we're almost at max capacity. So if they wanted to, I mean, they can certainly replicate the program. They just can't steal our people. Yeah.
Well, it's completely amazing. And it sounds like the key really is having it right there in their housing community. If you were trying to replicate it someplace that did not have that, I'm not sure that it would be as successful. So,
right. Agree. Yeah, that's been key. And we really, there was so much luck involved too, because when we initially like started collaborating, we never imagined that Shelly and Kate, like that was not the proposal. The proposal was not like, hey, will you know, open the doors and watch the kids every morning. That was not proposed to them, and that was their idea. So Wheeling Housing Authority has been huge in the program and into the day-to-day events of Ready Set School. So we got lucky there.
Again, I just want to say, and I'm just really impressed with this. So, and I was just kind of noting, and I know a lot of times we inundate grantees with what's your evidence-based programs for tier 1, tier 2.
Sure.
But this is a tier 2 service and support for ESMH.
Yeah.
This with the ultimate goal. It's a win-win, helping the schools to improve attendance and helping the student to continue to thrive and hopefully avoid the need for a tier 3 intervention. It fits so many building so many protective factors for that student. And I know I'm preaching in the choir because almost all of you already know this, but you know, if other schools want to replicate this, and Tiffany, I don't know what the plan is, if this is going to be housed out on ESMH's website that people who weren't able to attend, if we could push it back out to listen to, I think would be a wonderful opportunity.
We normally house it on YouTube and feature a link on the website, and then we don't have as much bandwidth to pay our web developers. But yeah, so we usually house it on YouTube with Heather's permission, and then and we can make it available to Ohio County schools, whatever you ladies want to do. It's your product. But yeah, sure can.
Yep, it's fine. And yeah, you bring up a good point, Tawny, because we're, am I reporting it? Am I documenting Ready Set School on my monthly ESMH data? Absolutely. But we're not using an evidence-based program. That's not what the program is designed for. We use our evidence-based programs in our other tier 2 groups that are happening throughout the day at school. But yeah, I mean, this was a targeted area that needed intervention. So yeah, no EBPs here, but that's okay. We've got it elsewhere.
Because that's the need. You identified the need. You had the data to back it up, and you identified the need, and they can go to school and they can get the EBP if they need it. But right now, this is what we need. We're just focusing on it.
Sure. Yeah, that's perfect. Like, get them to school, and then they can get their EBPs. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I would say for the other grantees that are on here too, if you have questions, ask. Diane, I know you're probably going to have a question about this. And so the idea is to meet the needs of the students. And you cannot reach them if they're not at school. It sounds simple, but that's really the basis of the whole, that's what school-based is. If they're not at school, you got to go where they're at in the community to get them at school. I love the idea of this program. And I see some folks are typing. Feel free to unmute, guys. This is just casual. It's just us. We're a small family for ESMH. We've just grown to over 100 people over the years. So this format makes it a little easier to talk with each other. That's all. I won't call you out by name. I'm not that person. Not today, maybe. Thanks, Diane. She said a wonderful program to not only change the lives of students and families, it's beyond the student alone to build a better program.
Thank you.
Right. All right. Any other questions or comments for today? Anybody want to ask all the hard questions? If you are not already registered, next month we are doing the Great Vape Escape. It's a vape escape room, I guess we'll say, with Southern Highlands. Don't forget to register for that. You can get to the link on the website. I'll post it in chat. But for now, any other questions or comments for Heather before we let her go back to her school day? All right. Well, we adore you and we thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay.
Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Allie.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks.
Bye.